All right, greetings educators. This is Module 1 lecture on reflective practice and curare. Before I get going, one of the things I'd like to talk to you about is my goal for this class and for what I hope you gain out of the course when we're done. I hope that everyone that leaves this class has embraced online learning with a new perspective and or gained a new and or an expanded respect for the medium of online learning. But the more important thing that I hope that you gain from this course is that you're reflective in practice, and that you can take what you've learned here and use it not only in your face-to-face instruction, not only in your online instruction, but also in your face-to-face instruction. What we'll talk about throughout the course of this whole class is we're going to talk a lot about engagement. We're going to talk a lot about retention and strategies to increase both of those. And so a lot of what I talk about in regards to those two topics is stuff that you can also use in your face-to-face practice. So again, I hope you gain a great understanding or an expanded understanding and appreciation for online learning, but I also hope that you take your practice of teaching into a new reflective phase. And so here we go. A few years ago, I was sitting in a master's course, a master's education course, and my professor was giving a lecture, and he said one of the craziest things to me. It was, and he said, keep a journal on your teaching. And I thought to myself, what? I'm not the journaling type. And the next thing I heard him say was, be reflective in practice, and also be aware of the hidden curriculum and attitudes that you bring to your practice. And again, I remember thinking this: I don't have an attitude. I love teaching, and I didn't, and I'm not the type of person that hides anything, and I'm one of the most open persons that you'll ever meet, and probably am too open. But after I really began to settle on what he was saying, it dawned on me that this is pretty important stuff. He began to explain that keeping a journal helps you keep track of your successes and failures. And although I don't really believe in failures in teaching, I do believe that we have opportunities for improvement. And that was the purpose of the journal. But that's a whole other story. What I want to focus today on is reflective practice and curare, and what that means to us. And this professor explained to us that educators bring their own value systems, attitudes, norms, beliefs, and most importantly, past experiences into their teaching practice. And that's where I want to focus this lecture and this module on. When I began to work in online learning, it was 2005, and so I have quite a lot of experience behind me. I've taught a lot online. I've taught a lot of teachers to teach online. But most importantly, during all this time, I have also taken over 60 online classes as a student. I did some of my associates and bachelor's work, but I did all my master's, all of my PhD, and some of my professional development has been online, like my Blackboard certification and my online certification. Both of those professional development programs were done online. Why is this important to you? Because I've taken so many online classes, I've had a lot of online instructors. And I can tell you which one of those instructors has embraced online learning as a valid form of meaningful instruction and learning. And I can also tell you which instructors who have been teaching online, who were teaching some of those classes online, who did it because it was mandated to them by a department chair. I can also tell you in that same breath that some of those teachers did it because their course loads didn't make. they didn't really want to be teaching online. Those faculty members who did embrace online learning had classes that were rich, engaging, and even thought-provoking, and I excelled in those classes, and I can tell you much about the content that was covered. The other classes, not so much. And so I hope that you remember that if you want students to be retained through your courses, if you want our students to be retained through our programs here at NMJC, and most importantly, if you want students to remember your content, you have to embrace the medium of online learning to the hilt. And so that's what the purpose of this course is, and I'm here to help see if I can't help you do that. The other reason it's important for you to understand about my student experience is because I've taken classes, a lot of classes online, and it gives me a 360-degree perspective of online education. Taking classes, I've taught classes, I've designed courses, and I've been a director of an online program. I have a pretty good perspective of the medium. As an example, I understand the business side of online learning from the president's perspective and from the vice president of instruction's perspective, because I've had to work with both of those people throughout the campuses that I've worked at. But that's about me, and so let's talk a little bit about what experiences bring to the table. Although I have a lot of experiences as an administrator, I still have my prejudices too, and bring my hidden curriculum into the course, and so I have to work really hard not to do that. And I want to give you an example of what I mean about my prejudices. And so I find myself, every time I hear that a student has dropped out or stopped out of an online class, I still find myself, first thing I think of is that student was using the financial aid system. In my 8 years of working in online education, I have seen many instances of this, of students who started taking a class and just stopped out because they wanted that financial aid. But then I have to stop myself, and I have to realize that and remember that things happen. Life happens to our students, and some of them have jobs change, people move, children get sick, that students get sick, and students sometimes can't handle the technology of online learning, or they're not prepared for the content subject matter. I could just go on and on. What I'm trying to say to you is that we all have our biases and past experiences that we each bring into the classroom, whether it's face-to-face or online. And that same education professor I spoke to earlier did another lecture one day on the topic of curriere. Basically, curriere is where educators take an autobiographical review of themselves to gain self-understanding with the purpose of mobilized pedagogical action. What? All this means is that we take a look at our past experiences to prepare ourselves for achieving academic excellence. And curriere is a four-part method that, if you want to know more about, I put some information in it in your Module 1 resources page. I have also come to understand this concept to be reflective and reflexive practice. And so that means that we reflect and understand something, and then we take an automatic action to correct it. And so what we want to do is we want to be reflective in practice so that we can be reflexive in action and take those opportunities for improvement and do something with them, or take our successes and more fully embrace them. With our first discussion question in this course, I'm going to ask you to spend some time in reflection before we move on in the class. I hope by the time we get finished with this entire class, you will have become a more reflective online instructor. If you're not already, a lot of you already are, but let's just go to the next level. And before I close, I just want to say to you that my little PowerPoint here with all these images, there's no meaning to it. It's just for me to have something for you to look at other than my ugly mug. And so anyway, it's an engaging strategy for engaging students and giving them something to visually focus on. And so I'll do that throughout the course. I hope you enjoyed the first discussion. I hope you take it seriously. And it is going to be about reflective practice and past experiences and how we bring those to our classroom. So I hope you all have a great day. See you in discussion 1. Bye-bye.